morning and welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee and today I am making our Easter dessert, and it's one of the vintage recipes from my mom. This is my awful handwriting from years ago, and it's Heath Bar Pie. It's made in a 9x13 pan, so it's not really a pie, but it was something that she used to make for Card Club back in the 60s and the 70s. They'd have a group of people over and they would have dessert after they played cards. And I always loved when she made this dessert. It was my very favorite one, and I would just beg her for a piece. And if I helped clean up and didn't make a mess and stayed quiet in the study while they were out in the living room and dining room, I got some of the dessert too. So I'm gonna make that for Easter, something I haven't made in several years. And the ingredients are 2 packs of instant vanilla pudding, 4 Heath bars that will crush up, milk, and then it is vanilla ice cream that you let soften. This is not a frozen dessert. It gets kept in the refrigerator, but it does take ice cream. And then a graham cracker crust is the base. So I'm gonna make the graham cracker crust first. And I like to put it in the oven a little bit so that it does firm up and doesn't just fall apart. So we will get started on the graham cracker crust, which takes ground up graham crackers, melted butter, and sugar. So let's make that first. For the crust, we need 2½ cups of graham cracker crumbs. You can buy them already ground up in a box, but I just bought a box of regular graham crackers because we're heading into bonfire season anyway, and ground it up in my Ninja. I did that off camera to save you that sound. Here's a big one. We'll take that out. I have a ½ cup, 1 stick of butter melted that we will add, and then it's a ½ cup of sugar. It took 2 packs of the graham crackers to get me the 2½ cups needed. So now we just mix this up. And you want it to get mixed to where it will clump together so that when you press it into the bottom of the whatever pan you're using, it will stick together and become a crust and not just a crumble. So you want it kind of like how mud is, you know, where you can sand at the beach, where you can clump it together. There's a couple of bigger chunks I'm breaking up that the Ninja missed. And it's actually better to add a little bit of butter if you need to get it to that point. It's nice to not use so much, but you won't be as happy with the end result. So this is looking pretty good. I have a 9x13 pan here. I am going to dump it all in there. I have my oven preheated to 350. I will put this in there for just 10 minutes, and that will help it to all bond together and make a crust. So now we're gonna pat this out into the pan. I'm gonna go up the sides a little in this pan because it has the rounded edges. So the base part of it really isn't a true 9x13. And I might have to take out some of the crust if it's too thick, but I'd rather start with too much than have to make more. This recipe is really simple. This is probably the most labor-intensive part of it. But it tastes so good. When you cut into it, it holds its shape, and the Heath bars kind of like melt a little bit into it. You could probably use the packaged Heath bits. I've never used them before. I've just always purchased the candy bars and broke them up myself. I think that's a little bit of therapy for myself. Take out my aggression on the Heath bars. I like using the bars because you end up with some big pieces, some small pieces. Another clump. I'm taking out the big pieces if I run across them because I don't want to have just a plain dry graham cracker chunk. Okay, so this looks good. It's pressed up pretty even, and I am going to put this in the oven for 10 minutes, and I'll take it out and let it cool a bit, and then we will make the filling. I have my 4 Heath bars here. I usually just take a good old wooden rolling pin and break it up that way. And you can feel if it's broken into pieces. And that looks good. I'll open them up and put them into a bowl now. And if there's any bigger chunks, I will break those up like there is. That one I didn't do as good of a job of breaking it up. I'll probably get a plastic bag and break those up some more. Okay, this is breaking it up better. Now I'll empty that back into the bowl now. I will put the recipe down below in the description. Like I said, it's a pretty simple recipe. Okay, so still waiting on the pie crust, and that has to cool a little bit before I put the filling in it. But otherwise, we are all set. Take the 2 boxes of pudding, add a cup of milk and mix that together, then add 1 quart of softened vanilla ice cream. I just measured out 4 cups and have it softening. And then add the Heath bar. And then on top, you put Cool Whip and sprinkle some of the reserved Heath bar bits on top. And that's all there is to it. So I will come back when the crust is ready so we can make the filling. The crust is done. So I'm gonna set this aside. The pan's still a little warm, but it should be okay. The inside is doing well. For the filling, we're going to put in 2 packs of the small size of instant vanilla pudding. You could use French vanilla. You could use white cheesecake if you wanted to give it a different flavor. And you can use any brand. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of milk. And we're going to mix that up now. And then we'll add in the 1 quart or 4 cups of ice cream. You need to plug it in to make it work. So this is real thick, and it doesn't take much to blend it together. And now we'll add in the ice cream that I've had out getting soft so it's not rock hard. It's still pretty thick, so it becomes a very thick mixture. I always remember being amazed as a little girl that it didn't have to go back in the freezer then. But I guess it's kind of like a custard base is what it ends up making, and it turns out really thick and sets up. So I'm going to blend this all together. Like I said, it's pretty simple. I'm going to take the Heath bars that are crunched up and put most of it in. I'm just going to leave a little bit to sprinkle on the top. So now I'm going to fold them in so they are evenly distributed through the pudding ice cream mixture. And I'll bring over the crust. Pour this in there. The only time I ever remember my mom making this was when she was having card club, and she had 2 different card clubs. There was one with the men and women that were the couples that was at night, and then she had a ladies only one. And I think she usually made this for the evening one, but that's what I remember anyway. Okay, I am going to get some Cool Whip out. And you know, we could probably make it more homemade from scratch by using like whipping cream, but I just do this the way my mom did, and it does taste good and it is convenient. So I have an 8-ounce Cool Whip that I had thawing out in the fridge since yesterday. And we will spread this on top. Okay, I have all the filling covered. And we will take the leftover pieces of Heath Bar and sprinkle on top. And now I just will cover this and put it in the fridge. Ooh, don't want to tilt it too much. So I will bring you back when I go to serve it and see if it turns out like my mom's did. Here is the finished product with some pieces already taken by family. But let me cut a piece out and show you what it looks like. Here's a piece cut out. It stays nice and firm. And there are pieces of the Heath Bar inside that kind of melt, and then the extra crunch on top. So it tastes almost like a custard.